Maria sat on the cold, cracked floor of the tiny mud house, holding her thin legs close to her chest. Her stomach growled, but she had learned to ignore it. Hunger was now her closest friend. At 22 years old, Maria was still in secondary school, not because she wasn't smart, but because life had been unfair to her. Her mother had died 5 years ago after a short illness. Since then, her stepfather, Mr. Amos, treated her like a stranger in the house. He never smiled at her. He never called her by name. To him, she was just the foolish female child. Her stepsister, Grace, was 2 years older than her. She never missed a chance to remind Maria that she was unwanted and useless. That morning, Mr. Amos called Maria into his room. His voice was loud and sharp. "Maria," he barked, "come here before I change my mind." She ran quickly, afraid of what might happen if she delayed. He handed her a brown envelope. "Inside this is your school fees," he said. "Take it straight to the school and pay. If you lose this money, don't come back to this house. I will deal with you mercilessly." Maria nodded quickly, clutching the envelope with both hands. Her heart was beating fast. "Listen," Mr. Amos continued, "don't think you will go to university. I don't have money to waste on a foolish female child like you. After secondary school, you will start selling tomatoes in the market." "Yes, sir," Maria whispered. "Get out of my sight." As she turned to leave, she met Grace at the door. Grace laughed and blocked her way. "Look who is going to school. 22 and still wearing a uniform. Shame, old woman." Maria said nothing. She just held the envelope tightly and walked away. The sun was already hot as she walked down the dusty village road. Her slippers were thin and small stones entered as she walked, but she didn't mind. She was used to it. Just as she reached the small wooden bridge near the market, she saw an old man sitting by the roadside. He looked weak and tired. His clothes were torn, his eyes were sunken. "Please, my daughter," the old man said in a low voice. "I have not eaten since yesterday. Do you have food?" Maria looked at him and felt a strong pain in her chest. "I don't have food, Papa," she said. "I'm sorry." She began to walk past him, but something held her back. She stopped and turned to look at him again. He looked like someone who had lost everything. She walked back to him. "Papa, what happened to you?" she asked softly. The man looked at her with tired eyes. "I was a farmer," he said. "I had a small farm. But one day fire came and burnt everything. I lost my crops, my home, and my peace. Since then, I've been begging. I sleep under the bridge or inside uncompleted buildings." Maria's eyes filled with tears. "If I had a house, I would let you stay with me," she said honestly. "But I don't. I live with my stepfather. My mother died 5 years ago. My life has been very hard." The man looked at her kindly. "What is your name, my daughter?" "My name is Maria," she replied. The man smiled. "My name is Okon." "Do you stay here every day?" Maria asked. "Yes," Okon said. "This is where I sit and beg. Sometimes people give me food. Sometimes they ignore me." Maria looked at the brown envelope in her bag. Her stepfather's voice echoed in her head. "If you lose this money, you are gone." She opened the bag and took out the envelope. She pulled out some of the money, but stopped. What will he do with part of the money? She asked herself. This man needs real help. Without thinking again, she looked into Papa Okon's eyes, held his hand gently, and placed the envelope in his palm. "Take it, Papa," she said. "It's all I have." The old man opened the envelope and saw the money. He was shocked. "No, my daughter," he said quickly. "This is too much." "No, Papa. Don't worry," Maria said. "It's from me to you." Tears rolled down his wrinkled cheeks. "God bless you, Maria," he said in a shaking voice. "May your kindness bring you miracles." Maria smiled faintly. "I will try to bring you food sometimes, even if it's small," she added. "Thank you, my child." "Thank you," he said, still holding the envelope like treasure. Maria stood up and began to walk again. Each step felt heavier than the last. Her chest was tight. She had just given away all her school fees. She had no idea what she was going to tell her stepfather. She reached the school gate, but couldn't go in. She sat under a big mango tree and buried her face in her hands. Tears rolled down her face. Her heart was heavy. Her future was now uncertain. But her soul felt at peace. She had done something good, something right, even if it would bring her pain. Maria walked home slowly, her feet dragging in the dust. Her heart was still heavy. She had given her school fees to Papa Ocon, and now she had no idea how to face her stepfather. As she approached the compound, her steps became slower. She wanted to disappear. The moment she entered the house, Mr. Amos was waiting. "Where is the receipt?" he asked, not even greeting her. Maria stood still, her lips trembling. I lost the money," she whispered. There was silence. Then he shouted, "You what? You lost it?" She nodded slowly. "I knew it," he barked. "You are seeing a man and giving my hard-earned money to him, aren't you? You useless daughter of a foolish woman. That's why you are walking around at your age, acting like you are going to school." Before she could speak, he picked up his cane and flogged her hard on her back and arms. Maria screamed, but didn't fight back. "You will not eat for 2 days," he shouted. "Do you think I pluck money from the tree?" She fell to the ground, covering her face as he continued to flog her. Then, after he was tired, he dropped the cane and pointed at her. "Worst of all," he said with anger in his eyes, "you will go to the forbidden river and fetch me water. I don't care what happens to you there. If you like, don't come back alive." Maria looked up in shock. "Papa, please," she begged with tears falling freely. "That place is dangerous. People say strange things happen there." "Shut up," he shouted. "You must go. You must learn your lesson." That night, Maria didn't eat. Her back was sore and her heart was broken. But when the morning came, she stood up, carried the water container, and went toward the forbidden river. Some villagers had warned that strange things lived around the river. People avoided the place, but Maria had no choice. She had to obey her stepfather. When she got to the river, it was quiet and cold. Trees around the river looked like they were watching her. She prayed in her heart as she bent to fetch the water. Nothing happened. To her surprise, she came back home safely. Mr. Amos was shocked. "You came back?" he asked, narrowing his eyes. Maria nodded quietly. He shook his head and said, "I knew it. You are a witch. That's why you came back. No normal girl can survive that place." Maria didn't answer. She quietly dropped the water and went to her corner. The next day, as soon as she could escape from the house, she ran back to the spot where she had met Papa Ocon. He was already there, sitting on the same stone. The moment he saw her, his face changed. "My daughter," he said. "What happened? You look so sad." Maria sat beside him, her eyes filled with tears. "I told my stepfather I lost the money," she said softly. "He didn't believe me. He beat me, called me names, and sent me to the forbidden river to fetch water. He said I should not come back alive." The old man clenched his fists. "What kind of heartless man is that?" he asked. "How I wish I had a house, my daughter. I would ask you to pack your things and come live with me." Maria wiped her tears. "It's okay, Papa. I'm fine now. I just wanted to come and see you." Papa Ocon looked at her with love and respect. "Thank you again for yesterday," he said. "You don't know what you've done for me. That money you gave me saved my life." Maria smiled weakly. "You will marry a very wealthy man one day," he said with confidence. Maria looked surprised. "Amen, Papa," she replied, "but I'm not ready yet. I want to focus on my education first." The old man nodded proudly. "You are wise, my daughter, very wise, and you are beautiful too. That stepfather of yours is just jealous because you are finer than his own daughter." Maria laughed a little, blushing. "That's my girl," the old man said with a grin. "See, I just made you smile." Maria nodded. "Yes, Papa. Thank you. You see, this world is full of people with bad hearts, but God always sees those with good ones. Your life will change, Maria. I don't know when, but I believe it with all my heart." "Thank you, Papa," she said, smiling. The next morning, Mr. Amos was walking along the narrow farm road on his way to the bush to fetch firewood. The sun had just started to rise, casting golden light over the trees. As he whistled and walked, a tall man dressed in simple clothes approached him from the opposite direction. "Good morning," the man greeted, stopping in front of him. Mr. Amos frowned. "What do you want?" he asked, already annoyed. "I came to warn you," the man said calmly. "Stay away from Maria. That girl has done nothing wrong to you. You are punishing her for no reason. You are just a frustrated man." Mr. Amos's eyes widened in anger. "What did you just say?" he shouted. "You dare speak to me like that? She is my daughter. You stay away from her. I knew it. Maria is sleeping with different men, and you are one of them." The man didn't move. "I warned you," he said again, his voice still calm. "Stay the hell away from her. I am her guardian angel. If you don't stop treating her like trash—" Mr. Amos cut him off. "What will happen? Tell me. What will you do?" The man's eyes darkened. "If you don't stop, you will be gone forever." With that, the man turned and walked away, disappearing down the path. Mr. Amos stood there, shaking with anger. "Useless people," he spat. "He dares to threaten me? Because of that foolish girl?" He turned back and rushed home, his face red with rage. As soon as he reached the house, he threw the door open. Maria was sweeping the small compound. "You," he shouted, "you think I don't know your plans?" Maria turned, frightened. "Papa, I—" Before she could finish, the cane landed hard on her back. "Shameless girl," he shouted. "You send men to threaten me. You think you can control me now." Maria cried out in pain. "I didn't send anyone, Papa. I don't know what you're talking about." He didn't listen. He beat her until she fell to the ground. When he finally stopped, Maria could hardly move. Her body ached, her heart was heavy, and her eyes were full of tears. That evening, when everyone was resting, Maria quietly slipped out of the house and walked down to the small bush path that led to her mother's grave. She knelt beside the grave and cried her heart out. "Mama," she whispered, placing her hand on the cold cement. "Why did you leave me? I am suffering. They don't like me. They beat me. They treat me like I'm nothing. Mama, I miss you. I wish you were here. I wish you could help me. I don't know how long I can take this." The wind blew softly through the trees. Birds flew past. The world was quiet, but Maria's heart screamed with pain. She sat there for a long time, crying and talking to the grave. That was the only place she felt safe. As she walked back home with her red eyes and weak legs, she prayed silently, "God, please, just help me. Please." When she reached the house, she met Grace sitting outside, filing her nails and chewing gum. Grace looked at her with disgust. "You daughter of a ghost," she sneered. "You've gone out again to sleep with men, haven't you?" Maria wiped her tears and walked past her. "I'm talking to you," Grace shouted. Maria stopped. "I didn't go to meet any man. I went to visit my mother's grave." "Liar," Grace said. "Anyway, go to the kitchen. My boyfriend is coming soon, and we want to eat pounded yam with vegetable soup. I need it hot and fresh." Maria sighed. "I'm tired, Grace. I haven't even eaten today." Grace stood up and pointed her long fingernail at Maria's face. "You have no choice," she shouted, "or I will tell my father to chase you out of this house tonight. Then you can go and live with your dead mother in the grave." Maria's heart dropped. She wanted to scream, but no words came out. She turned and walked slowly into the kitchen with tears in her eyes. Her legs felt weak. Her back still hurt badly from the morning's beating, and her arms were sore. The pain made her tremble, but she had no choice. If she refused, Grace would report her to Mr. Amos, and he would throw her out without mercy. Maria leaned against the wall for a moment, breathing heavily. She wiped her face, then dragged herself to the small washing area. She poured water into a bowl, washed her hands slowly, and stared at the yam tubers on the floor. Her eyes stung. "Where will I find the strength to do this?" she whispered to herself, but she knew there was no one to help her. With shaky arms, she picked up the knife and began to peel the yam, one slice at a time. Her fingers felt heavy, but she kept going. After peeling, she washed the slices and placed them in a pot of water. She lit the firewood with difficulty, coughing as the smoke entered her eyes. When the yam was soft, she fetched the mortar and pestle. Her hands were trembling, but she carried it anyway. Then she stood over the yam and began to pound. Slow, painful thuds that echoed her broken spirit. She paused every few minutes to catch her breath, her forehead wet with sweat, her eyes full of tears. By the time the yam was done, she felt like collapsing. She was tired, tired of pain, tired of insults, tired of being treated like trash in the house her mother once called home. But deep in her heart, a small voice whispered, "Don't give up. You are stronger than this. Something good will happen soon. And that small voice was the only thing keeping her alive. Maria had just finished cooking the soup and pounding the yam when Grace came marching into the kitchen, shaking her waist like a village queen. "My boyfriend is almost here," she said proudly, flipping her hair. "I'm going to the next street to buy drinks for him. Make sure you serve him the food before I come back. He is very hungry, and I don't want any delay. You hear me?" Maria didn't answer. She just nodded and continued arranging the food on a tray. Grace hissed loudly and left, humming a love song as she walked away. Minutes later, there was a knock on the front door. Maria opened it and saw a tall man standing there, wearing a jean and a tight shirt. "Good evening," Maria said quietly. "Yeah," the man replied, eyeing her from head to toe. "Are you Grace's sister?" Maria didn't bother to explain. She just stepped aside and allowed him in. She placed the hot food on the small wooden table and turned to leave. But the man stopped her with his eyes. "Wait," he said. "You're so beautiful." Maria blinked. "Sorry?" "You heard me," the man said, leaning on the chair. "You are more beautiful than Grace. Has anyone told you that before?" Maria looked away, uncomfortable. "Thank you, sir." "Don't thank me," he said, licking his lips. "I'm just being honest. In fact, if I saw you first, I would never have looked at your sister. She is the one forcing herself on me." Maria's face changed. "That's none of my business." But the man leaned closer. "Be my girlfriend," he said boldly. "I don't really like Grace. I just play along to make her happy. But you're special. You're different. Come with me. I will take you to the city. I have money. I can change your life." Maria turned slowly and looked at him, her face calm but her eyes sharp. "You have money?" she asked. "Yes, plenty," he replied proudly. "Just say yes, and you'll never suffer again." Maria folded her arms and tilted her head. "Really? Then why do you look like this?" she asked, frowning. "If you truly have money, why is your hair looking like it was combed with a fork? And your shirt, is this how rich people dress? Your face is sweating like you ran here from Lagos." The man blinked, surprised. What do you mean?" "I mean," Maria continued, "use your dirty money to take care of yourself first before offering to take care of someone else." He tried to laugh, but she wasn't done. "You're not even handsome," she added. "You look like someone who lost a fight with sleep and woke up confused. And your shoes, they're shouting louder than you." The man's smile disappeared. His face turned red with shame. "I was just trying to help a poor village girl like you," he snapped, angry and embarrassed. "Help?" Maria laughed softly. "You want to help me by betraying your girlfriend and expecting me to fall for your nonsense because of money? You must think I'm very stupid." He stood up, his hands shaking. "You will regret this." "No," Maria said calmly. "I already regret opening the door for you." She then stormed off angrily. Grace was still at the shop when her phone rang. She looked at the screen and smiled. It was her boyfriend. "Hello, baby," she said sweetly, but his voice was different, cold, distant. "Grace, your sister is a snake," he said. Grace blinked. "What are you talking about?" "Maria tried to seduce me," he lied smoothly. "She said you are not my type. She begged me to leave you and take her to the city instead. She even touched me, Grace." I was shocked. "What? Maria? That fool!" Grace shouted on the road, attracting attention. "Are you sure?" "Of course I'm sure," he replied. "I told her I'm not interested, but she kept begging. I had to leave before I lost my temper." Grace's face was red with anger. "She will hear from me." She ended the call and stormed out of the shop, pushing people out of her way as she rushed home. As soon as she entered the house, she dropped the drinks on the table and shouted, "Papa, Papa, come and hear what that useless girl did." Mr. Amos came out of his room. "What is it again?" he asked. "Your daughter, Maria, tried to steal my boyfriend," Grace screamed. "She told him that I'm not good enough for him. She begged him to take her to the city. Can you imagine? That dirty village rat." Mr. Amos's face changed. His eyes widened with rage. "She did what?" he roared. Just then, Maria came out of the kitchen. "Papa, I didn't—" She tried to speak, but he slapped her. "Shut up, you shameless child," he shouted. "You want to bring disgrace to my house? You want to seduce your sister's boyfriend? How useless can you be?" Maria held her chest. Papa, I swear I didn't do anything. He was the one. Before she could finish, a heavy slap landed on her cheek. She staggered back, holding her face. You're lying, Mr. Amos barked. You think I will believe a cheap girl like you over a man? You must be cursed, you daughter of a rotten woman. Maria's eyes filled with tears. Papa, I swear on Mama's grave I didn't. Don't mention that woman's name in this house, he shouted. You are just like her, good for nothing. Maria stood frozen, her heart breaking into pieces. She looked at Grace, hoping for mercy, but Grace only smiled proudly and folded her arms. Mr. Amos pointed at her. You will not eat anything in this house for 2 days, he declared. And if I see you talking to any man again, even a madman, I will strip you naked and throw you out myself. Maria turned slowly and walked back into the kitchen, her tears falling silently. She sat in the corner, hugging her knees. Her whole body shook with sadness and anger. How could he believe such a lie? How could he say such hurtful things? She had done nothing wrong, nothing. She thought of her mother again. If only she were alive. If only someone in the world truly loved her. Her stomach growled, but she didn't care. Food didn't matter anymore. What hurt the most was that her own family, if she could still call them that, hated her without reason. And now, even the little peace she found in being quiet and obedient was gone. The next day, Maria left the house early with no food in her stomach and no smile on her face. Her body was weak, but her heart was even weaker. She walked slowly to the old spot where Papa Ocon sat every day. When she got there, he was already sitting on the same stone, holding a walking stick and whistling softly. The moment he saw her, he stood up. My daughter, come here. You look sad again. Maria dropped her bag and sat beside him. Her eyes were red and her lips were dry. Papa, she said quietly, I am tired. Tired? He asked, looking worried. Yes, she said, I feel like giving up. My stepfather beat me again last night, for something I didn't do. He said I seduced Grace's boyfriend, but it's a lie. I'm tired. I feel like running away. Papa Ocon's face changed. His eyes became sharp. That man, he said, clapping his hands once in anger. God will send his angels to flog him without mercy. Maria looked at him, surprised, and wiped her tears. They will flog him so hard, he will cry like a baby. Papa continued, he will roll on the floor begging for help, but nobody will hear him. Even his own shadow will run away. Maria covered her mouth and laughed. Papa, you are so funny. Papa Ocon smiled. I may be old, but I don't joke when I talk about wicked people. My daughter, you are too kind. One day, they will regret all the bad things they did to you. Just wait and see. He paused and looked around before leaning closer. My daughter, I have something to tell you. What is it, Papa? She asked. A good Samaritan has helped me, he said, his face bright. Someone who saw me here gave me a job as a security man in the city. Not only that, they gave me a small house to stay in. Maria's eyes opened wide with joy. Really, Papa? That's great news. Yes, he said, I'm leaving tomorrow morning. Maria's smile slowly faded. So, you're leaving me too? No, he said, patting her hand. You are not alone. Listen, I want you to come with me. Maria shook her head sadly. Papa, I can't. If I leave now, they will say I ran away with a man. They will never allow me to return again. Papa Ocon nodded slowly. I understand. But here, he reached into his pocket and brought out a small folded paper. This is the address of where I'll be staying, he said. Keep it safe. Don't let them see it. If anything happens, or if you change your mind, just come. My house is your house. Maria took the paper with shaking hands. Thank you, Papa. I'll miss you. Tears rolled down her face. You're the only real family I have now. How will I cope without you? Papa Ocon wiped her tears gently. Don't cry, my child. You are strong. And remember, God is watching. No matter what happens, you will not suffer forever. She nodded, stood up and said, Let me go and buy food for you to eat before I go. Thank you, my daughter, he said with a smile. As soon as Maria left, Papa Ocon brought out a small phone from his pocket and dialed a number. When the person picked up, he said only one sentence. Do it. Make him regret it. Then he ended the call and hid the phone again. Moments later, Maria returned with hot rice and stew in a takeaway pack. Here, Papa, she said with a smile, eat before the food gets cold. Thank you, he said, opening the food and taking the first bite. You cook like an angel. Maria smiled. It's from a food seller, he laughed. Even better. My daughter, you will marry a very handsome and wealthy man. Believe me. Maria blushed. Amen, Papa. Not just any man, he continued, chewing happily. A man who will treat you like a queen. You will wear fine clothes, live in a big house, and walk like the daughter of a king. Maria laughed. Papa, you're sweet-talking me. No, he said, I'm just telling you what I see. Watch and see. Meanwhile, back in the house, Mr. Amos was on his way to the farm. He carried his cutlass, whistling and grumbling about how Maria was spoiling everything in his life. As he passed under the large palm tree near the village shrine, something strange happened. Out of nowhere, a masquerade jumped out and flogged him hard. Before he could shout, another one appeared from the bush. Then a third one jumped down from the tree. They didn't say a word, they just flogged him. Left, right, center, he screamed, Please, who are you? What did I do? But they didn't answer. They just flogged him again mercilessly. He tried to run, but they chased him. He fell into the mud, rolled on the ground, and crawled like a goat escaping slaughter. When they finally disappeared into the bush, Mr. Amos stood up, covered in dust and shame. He grabbed his cutlass and ran back toward the village, limping and crying like a child. On his way, he saw his friend Okori resting under a mango tree. Amos, what happened? Okori asked, shocked by his appearance. Mr. Amos bent over, breathing heavily. Masquerades, they beat me, 3 of them, from nowhere. But Okori laughed hard, holding his stomach. Serves you right, he said. You are too wicked. Maybe it's the ghost of that poor girl's mother that is flogging you. Who knows? Mr. Amos gasped. Ghost? Yes, Okori shouted. Just leave that girl alone, or next time the angels will not use cane, they will use iron. Get out of my sight, Mr. Amos cried and ran home. When he reached the compound, he collapsed near the door and started sobbing. Mama Maria, you shall not know peace. Tell your ghost friends to leave me alone. 2 days later, the house was quiet. Maria had finished sweeping the compound. Her body was still weak from hunger, but she had gotten used to it. As she entered the house to rest, Mr. Amos followed her inside and locked the door behind him. Maria turned around slowly. The way he looked at her made her stomach turn. What is it, Papa? She asked, her voice shaky. He leaned on the wall and smiled, but it was not a good smile. So your dead mother's ghost sent those masquerades to flog me, eh? He said with a bitter laugh. She warned me not to beat you again. So fine, I won't beat you. Maria stayed silent, but her hands began to shake. Instead, he said, stepping closer, I will use you another way. Let me get you pregnant. Then I will chase you out of this house. You'll become a poor single mother with no help and no future. Nobody will want you. That is the punishment you deserve. Maria froze. What did you just say? She asked, her voice now filled with anger and fear. He moved closer, licking his lips. Don't shout. Nobody will hear you. You're a useless girl. Let me destroy you once and for all. As he reached for her, something happened. From deep inside her heart, something strong rose up, a power she didn't know she had, a fire that had been buried under years of pain, tears, and silence. Without thinking, Maria balled her fist and punched him hard in the face. Mr. Amos screamed, stumbled backward, and hit the floor. You touched me. Ah, he cried. Help! Somebody help me! This girl wants to kill me! But Maria didn't wait. She ran into the small room, grabbed her bag and the paper with Papa Okon's address and rushed out of the house. She didn't even look back. She ran as fast as her legs could carry her, through the village paths, past the market, straight to the small motor park. She had never been to the city before. She didn't even know what to expect, but she had the address, and more importantly, she had her freedom. She climbed into a bus heading to the city. The engine started, and as the vehicle moved, tears ran down her cheeks. Not tears of pain, but tears of strength. I'm free, she whispered. She didn't know where life would take her next, but she knew she would never go back to that house again. Back at home, Mr. Amos was rolling on the ground, holding his face and wailing like a baby. She punched me. She almost killed me. Grace came running into the house. What happened? She asked. That useless girl, Maria, he shouted. She came with some foolish, jobless men. They beat me up. Look at my face. Grace looked around. Where are the men? They ran after she escaped, he said quickly, lying through his teeth. They beat me and left me here. This girl is possessed. She wants to destroy me. Grace was shaking with anger. We must report her. Let's go to the king, or the police. Mr. Amos sat up and wiped his fake tears. No, he said, it's not important. Reporting her won't change anything. Grace frowned. So what do we do? He looked around like someone plotting evil. Then he said with a voice full of hate, if that girl ever steps foot in this house again, I will unalive her. I swear on whatever is left of my life. Grace gasped. Papa! I don't care, he shouted. She has brought shame to me. Shame to this house. If she comes back, that will be the end of her. Grace didn't say anything. She just stared at her father, now truly scared of the kind of man he had become. Meanwhile, in the city, the bus dropped Maria at a small park. Everything was new. The cars, the buildings, the noise, the smell of roasted corn, the fast-walking people. She was scared, but determined. She brought out the paper and found the address Papa Ocon had given her. She asked someone for directions, and after some time, she reached a small but neat compound. She knocked. Papa Ocon opened the door and his face lit up like a lamp. My daughter, he cried and pulled her into a warm hug. You came. Maria burst into tears. Papa, I had to. He tried to. She broke down crying. He held her close like a father would. No more, he said. You are safe now. Nobody will ever hurt you again. He led her inside the small room. It was simple but clean. This is your home now, he said. Maria looked around and smiled through her tears. Thank you, Papa. Thank you for saving me. He smiled. Maria sat alone in the small room. It was peaceful. The ceiling fan turned slowly and a sweet breeze entered through the small window. She had just finished folding her clothes into a drawer Papa Ocon gave her. Suddenly, the door flew open. Standing there was a tall and very handsome young man. He looked like someone straight out of a movie. Clean haircut, expensive perfume, stylish shirt, and confident eyes. Maria froze where she sat on the bed, unsure what to say. The young man stepped into the room, frowning. What are you doing here? He asked in a sharp voice. Maria stood up politely. Good afternoon, sir, she said softly. My father is not around. He went out. I'm his daughter. The man looked at her, confused. Your father, he repeated. Who is your father? Papa Ocon, Maria replied. The man laughed, but it wasn't a funny laugh. It was full of surprise and annoyance. You mean the gate man? Maria nodded slowly. The man folded his arms. So the poor gateman I employed now has a total stranger living inside my house without my permission. Wow. Maria's heart skipped. Sir, I am not a stranger, she said, trying to explain. I just told you. I am his daughter. Shut up, the man snapped. How dare you speak when I'm talking? Do I look like your mate? Maria's lips tightened. She didn't like the way he talked, but she kept quiet. This is my house, he continued. Your so-called father has no right to bring a stranger here. When he comes back, tell him I want to see him immediately. He must explain to me why he left his duty post and why he turned my house into a village guest room. He turned to leave, but paused at the door. Don't touch anything in this house, he said without looking back. I'm watching everything. Then he walked out and slammed the door behind him. Maria stood there, shaking. She slowly sat back on the bed, her heart beating fast. Her hands were cold. What kind of man is this? She whispered to herself. She looked at the door, then looked around the room. He's rude, she said, very rude, but he's also very handsome. She shook her head quickly. This is my spec but his attitude is terrible. Is this how all rich men behave in the city? So arrogant, so bitter. Maybe his girlfriend broke up with him. Or maybe someone stole his phone. But why pour all the anger on me? She lay on the bed and stared at the ceiling. How can someone look so good, smell so rich, dress so fine, and still have a heart like pepper? She closed her eyes for a moment. Whatever. Let my father come back first. He will explain everything. I'm not going anywhere. She let out a deep sigh. If this is city life, then it's already full of drama. But I didn't come here to fight. I came here to find peace. I just hope this man will not be my next problem. Papa Ocon returned to the compound just before sunset. He looked tired but smiled when he saw Maria waiting for him near the small gate. "Papa," she ran to him. "My daughter," he said warmly. "Are you okay?" Maria took a deep breath. "No, Papa. Something happened while you were gone." She quickly told him everything, the handsome man who entered the room, how he shouted at her, and how he accused her of being a stranger. Papa Ocon frowned. "That's strange," he said. "Let me go and talk to my boss, Frederick." "Maybe there's a misunderstanding." He walked off quickly, and Maria stayed behind in the small room, nervously waiting. Meanwhile, in the big sitting room of the main house, Frederick, the young man from earlier, was drinking a cold bottle of water when Papa Ocon entered. "Good evening, sir," Papa Ocon said respectfully. "I came to speak to you about my daughter." Frederick dropped his bottle hard on the table. "Your daughter? Oh, so now you're bringing strangers into my house and calling them your daughter. Who knows what else you've been hiding? Maybe you've been stealing from me too." Papa Ocon was shocked. "Stealing? Sir, I have never stolen anything in my life. I came here peacefully to talk about my daughter." Frederick stood up angrily and shouted, "I will get you arrested. You are a thief and a liar." Just then, Maria rushed in. "You must be stupid to think I will be scared of you," she shouted, standing tall. Frederick looked stunned. "How dare you insult my father and lie on him?" Maria continued. "Call the police. You think you're the only powerful person in this city. Let me tell you something. I know people, wealthy people. If you try anything, if you dare to touch my father, I will deal with you in a way you've never seen before. Try me." Frederick blinked, then suddenly, he burst into laughter. Maria paused. "What's funny?" Then Papa Ocon started laughing too. Maria looked between the two of them, completely confused. "Papa, what's going on? Why are you laughing with this wicked man?" Papa Ocon wiped his eyes. "My daughter, meet Frederick, my son." Maria's eyes widened. "You're what?" "Papa, this is not a good time to joke." "I'm not joking," Papa Ocon said. "Frederick is my son, my blood, the owner of this house. The man you just shouted at is my only child." Maria's mouth hung open. Frederick stepped forward with a small smile. "I've heard so much about you, Maria." Maria turned to Papa Ocon. "What is going on?" Papa Ocon sat down and spoke gently. "My daughter, months ago, Frederick was supposed to marry a girl, a very beautiful city girl. But one day she left him for another man. No reason. Just heartbreak." Frederick nodded slowly, his eyes now softer. "I almost lost myself. I was depressed. I stopped trusting women. I even thought of ending my life." Maria gasped and looked at him. "What?" "Yes," Papa Ocon added. "I begged him. I told him there are still good girls in the world. But he said no. He didn't believe in love anymore. So I made a decision. I disguised myself as a poor gateman, left the main house, and began looking for a good girl." Maria was speechless. "That's when I found you," Papa Ocon said warmly. "You gave your school fees to a hungry man. You took beatings and insults and still remained kind. You are the best woman for my son. You are gold. I love you so much, my daughter." Maria's eyes filled with tears. She couldn't speak. She just stood there, stunned, as everything settled in her mind. Frederick then walked closer and knelt on one knee. Maria's eyes went even wider. "Frederick, what are you doing?" He brought out a small ring box. "Maria, I love you. From the moment I saw you, something in my heart moved. But it was more than that." He smiled. "Do you remember those times you would talk with Papa, laugh with him, cry with him, sit beside him?" Maria nodded slowly. "Sometimes I was on call with Papa, and I was listening," he confessed. "I heard you say how much you missed your mother, how kind you were, how brave." "I didn't know you, but I already felt like I did," Maria gasped. "You were listening." "Yes," Frederick said, "and when I saw you with my own eyes, I knew. You are the one. You're not just beautiful. You have a heart of gold. Marry me, Maria. Let me love you. Let me protect you." Maria's mouth trembled. I don't even know what to say," she whispered. Frederick looked into her eyes. "Say yes." She smiled through her tears. "I love you too," she said softly. "I can't lie. The moment you walked into the room, I felt something. It was magical." Frederick stood up and hugged her tightly. "You're so damn beautiful," he whispered. "You are an angel." Maria smiled and rested her head on his chest. "And you are my answered prayer." Papa Ocon clapped his hands and shouted, "Yes, love is sweet. Somebody bring wine, let's celebrate." They all laughed together, and for the first time in her life, Maria felt safe, happy, and truly loved. 2 weeks later, the day everyone in the city talked about finally came. Maria and Frederick's wedding. The event was like something out of a dream. The hall was decorated with white and gold curtains, flowers filled the air with sweet scent, and the sound of love songs danced through the loudspeakers. Guests came in expensive clothes, paparazzi clicked cameras. It was as if a royal family was celebrating. Maria looked like an angel. Her white wedding gown sparkled, and her smile could melt any heart. As she walked down the aisle, holding Papa Ocon's arm, the whole room stood up in admiration. Frederick was waiting in front, dressed in a sharp black suit, smiling like a man who had just found the key to heaven. When Maria reached him, he whispered, "You're the most beautiful thing I've ever seen." "And you're my miracle," she whispered back. They exchanged vows, rings, and promised to love each other forever. The crowd clapped. Papa Ocon cried tears of joy. Frederick lifted Maria and kissed her in front of everyone. The hall exploded in cheers. Maria had finally found peace, love, and family. But far away, in the small village, Mr. Amos sat on a wooden bench outside his house, staring at the dusty ground with fire in his eyes. He had just received the news that Maria, the girl he once called useless, had married a rich man in the city. "Ah," he screamed, standing up. "No, this cannot happen. That girl must go and be with her dead mother. Let her follow her mother to the grave." Grace, now few weeks pregnant, was sitting outside chewing roasted corn. "Papa," she said, "I know I never liked Maria, but I don't think we should wish her death." "Shut up, you fool," Mr. Amos barked. "Look at your life, pregnant without a husband. When will your own wedding happen?" Grace's face fell. "But Papa, you were supposed to marry that handsome boy from the next village," he shouted, pointing at her. "But no, you were busy playing big girl, chasing after sugar daddies, painting your nails and swinging your waist like peacock. Now see your stomach, big like yam, but no father for your child." Grace looked down, embarrassed. Mr. Amos began to pace. "She stole my daughter's glory," he shouted. "That marriage was supposed to be yours. She came here and destroyed everything." He picked up his cap and tied it tightly on his head. "Where are you going, Papa?" Grace asked. He turned, his face filled with wicked fire. "I'm going to the native doctor shrine," he said. "This time she will see. I will deal with her. Her husband will hate her. She will be thrown out like a dog. She will crawl back here and beg me." "Papa, no, please," Grace said, now truly afraid. "It's not that serious." "You keep quiet," he shouted again. "You foolish daughter of a foolish mother, just sit there and eat your corn in shame." And with that he stormed off, heading straight for the thick forest path where the village's most feared native doctor lived. As he walked, villagers watched him from their windows, whispering. "That's Maria's stepfather," one said. "He's going to the shrine," another whispered. "He can't believe that poor girl is now a billionaire's wife." But nobody stopped him, because evil thoughts sometimes destroy themselves. Mr. Amos walked fast through the bush path, heading to the native doctor's shrine. His eyes were red with anger, his mind filled with evil plans. "That Maria must suffer," he muttered. "She must lose everything. She cannot enjoy life while I sit here like a fool." But as he walked deeper into the forest, something strange happened. The sky suddenly became dark. The wind began to blow. Leaves danced in the air like they were warning him to turn back. Before he could take 5 more steps, a loud thunder roared from the sky. Then, flash! Lightning struck a tree near him, and he fell to the ground screaming. He tried to get up, but another lightning bolt came and struck again. This time it hit him directly. He let out one last cry before falling flat. And just like that, Mr. Amos was gone. The wickedness that filled his heart had returned to him. Back in the village, Grace sat outside eating mango when a small boy came running. "Grace, Grace," he shouted. "What is it?" she asked, standing quickly. "Your father is dead. Thunder unalived him near the shrine." Grace dropped the mango. "What?" She ran inside and fell to the floor, crying. "Papa, why? Your wickedness was too much. Why did you dislike her so much? See where it ended you." Villagers gathered, shaking their heads. "Evil never wins," an old woman said. Meanwhile, in the city, Maria was in the kitchen cooking jollof rice when Papa Ocon came inside, smiling. "My daughter," he called. Maria turned to him. "Papa, have you heard the news?" "Yes, oh," he said, removing his slippers. "Your stepfather is gone. Thunder gave him hot slap and sent him to meet your mother." Maria smiled and shook her head. "Papa, you are too funny." "No be joko," Papa Ocon laughed. "That's what happens when you try to fight God's child." Then he looked at her with a small smile. "But let me confess something." Maria raised her eyebrows. "Papa? What again?" "I was the one that sent that man to warn your stepfather in the village. And those 3 masquerades that flogged him that day, I arranged them too." Maria burst into laughter. "Papa, you are serious." "Yes, oh. I was angry. That foolish man was beating you anyhow. I couldn't just sit and watch. That's rubbish." Maria shook her head, laughing. "Papa, you are something else." Then she became quiet. "Papa, I have something to tell you." Papa Ocon looked at her. "What is it?" She smiled and touched her stomach. "Papa, I'm pregnant." His eyes widened. "Are you serious?" She nodded. "Yes, Papa." "Have you told your husband?" "Yes, I told Frederick yesterday." Papa Ocon jumped from the chair and started dancing. "Aye, I'm going to be a grandfather. Thank you, Jesus." Maria laughed and clapped for him. "I can't wait to carry my grandchild," he said, still dancing. "I will sing lullaby every night." 9 months later, Maria gave birth to a beautiful baby girl. She had her mother's kind eyes and Frederick's charming smile. Everyone was overjoyed. Frederick kissed Maria's forehead. "Thank you, my queen. You gave me the best gift ever." Papa Ocon carried the baby and said, "My grandbaby, you're already more beautiful than the stars." They named her Joy because that was exactly what she brought into their lives. And from that day forward, there was no more crying, no more pain. Just love, laughter, and the sweet sound of a happy family. Dear viewers, what lessons did you take away from this dramatic tale? We'd love to hear your thoughts in the comments below. If you enjoyed the story, give us a thumbs up, share it with friends, and hit that subscribe button. Don't forget to turn on notifications so you never miss out on our latest updates. Thanks for watching and stay blessed.